In the heart of the dense African rainforest, there lay a serene village called Efua. The villagers lived simple lives, surrounded by the rustling leaves, chirping birds, and the rhythmic sounds of pounding fufu. Among them lived a young girl named Efua, whose story became a cautionary tale for generations. Efua's mother, Nkem, had passed away when Efua was just 6 years old. Her father, Ikena, remarried soon after, bringing a woman named Nena into their home. Efua had hoped Nena would fill the void her mother left behind, but life had other plans. From the moment Nena stepped into the household, she treated Efua with disdain. While Nena's own daughter, Amarachi, was showered with love and affection, Efua bore the brunt of her stepmother's wrath. She was given the heaviest chores, fed the smallest portions, and scolded for the slightest mistakes. One evening, as the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the village, Efua sat on the wooden stool outside the hut, peeling cassava. Her hands moved deftly, but her heart was heavy. Efua. Nena's sharp voice pierced the quiet. What is taking you so long? Are you peeling cassava for the entire village? Efua flinched but replied softly, I'm almost done, Ma. Almost done. Nena stormed out of the hut, her eyes blazing. You are as lazy as your late mother. If you don't finish in the next 5 minutes, you will sleep without supper. Efua bit her lip to hold back the tears. She missed her mother fiercely. Her father, though kind, was often absent, traveling to trade goods. Whenever he returned, Nena transformed into a sweet and caring wife, hiding her cruelty. As Efua walked, Amarachi skipped out of the hut, her laughter echoing in the evening air. She carried a small clay pot filled with fresh palm wine. Mother, should I bring this to Papa when he returns? Amarachi asked, a sly grin spreading across her face as she glanced at Efua. Yes, my precious child, Nena said, her tone dripping with affection. Unlike some people, you know how to be useful. Efua's fingers tightened around the cassava, but she said nothing. That night, after her chores were done, Efua sat by the fire, eating the remnants of the evening meal. Amarachi sat beside her, munching on a freshly roasted yam. Why do you always let Mama talk to you like that? Amarachi asked, her tone half mocking. Efua looked at her stepsister, surprised. What do you mean? What can I do? You could stand up for yourself, Amarachi said, shrugging. Or tell Papa. Efua shook her head. And make things worse for myself when he's away. No, thank you. As the days turned into weeks, Efua found solace in the forest. After completing her chores, she would escape to the woods, where she felt her mother's presence in the whispering trees and the cool breeze. One day, while gathering firewood, Efua heard a soft voice. Why do you cry, little one? Startled, she turned to find an old woman leaning on a gnarled staff. Her skin was wrinkled, her eyes wise and kind. I'm not crying, Efua said, hastily wiping her face. The old woman smiled. Your eyes tell a different story. Efua hesitated, then poured out her heart. She spoke of her mother, her father, Nena's cruelty, and her longing for love. The old woman listened quietly, then said, You have a strong spirit, child. Never let anyone extinguish your light. And remember, kindness is a weapon stronger than hate. Before Efua could respond, the old woman vanished into the forest. Efua returned home, her heart strangely light. That evening, when Nena berated her for spilling water, Efua responded with calm politeness. This confused Nena, who was used to seeing fear in the girl's eyes. Days turned into weeks, and Efua's resilience grew. She began to hum as she walked, finding joy in the smallest things. This infuriated Nena. One fateful evening, Ikena returned home unannounced. He found Efua scrubbing the floor while Nena and Amarachi laughed over a steaming pot of soup. "Efua, why are you working alone?" Ikena asked, frowning. Before Efua could respond, Nena said, "She insisted, my husband. You know how eager she is to please." Ikena turned to Efua. "Is this true?" Efua hesitated, then looked her father in the eye. "No, Papa. I do all the work because Mama tells me to." Ikena's face darkened. He turned to Nena. "Is this how you treat my daughter in my absence?" Nena stammered, I was only trying to discipline her." "Discipline?" Ikena's voice rose. "By turning her into a servant." That night, Ikena had a long talk with Efua. He promised to never leave her alone again and began to involve himself more in the household. Over time, Nena's attitude softened, though it was clear she resented the change. Amarachi, seeing her mother's diminished power, grew closer to Efua, and the two eventually became friends. Years later, when Efua became a teacher, she often told her story to her students, ending with the words, "Kindness and courage can turn even the darkest nights into dawn."